Welcome back to another in our series of the great chapters in the Bible. Our chapter today comes from the Old Testament book of 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 22, the book of the law, is found. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Adaiah of Bozkath. And he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and walked in all the way of David his father. And he did not turn aside to the right or to the left. In the 18th year of King Josiah, the king sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, the secretary, to the house of the Lord, saying, Go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, that he may count the money that has been brought into the house of the Lord, which the keepers of the threshold have collected from the people. And let it be given into the hand of the workmen, who have the oversight of the house of the Lord. And let them give it to the workmen, who are at the house of the Lord repairing the house, that is, to the carpenters, and to the builders, and to the masons. And let them use it for buying timber and quarried stone to repair the house. But no accounting shall be asked from them for the money that is delivered into their hand, for they are dealing honestly. And Hilkiah the high priest said to Shaphan the secretary, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the secretary came to the king and reported to the king, Your servants have emptied out the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hand of the workmen who have the oversight of the house of the Lord. Then Shaphan the secretary told the king, Hilkiah the priest has given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. When the king heard the words of the book of the law, he tore his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Achbor, the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the secretary, and Azaliah, the king's servant, saying, Go inquire of the Lord for me, and for the people, and for all Judah concerning the words of this book that has been found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not obeyed the words of this book, to do according to all that is written concerning us. So Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Achbor, and Shaphan, and Azaliah went to Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, the son of Tikvah, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she lived in Jerusalem in the second quarter. And they talked with her, and she said to them, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Tell the man who has sent you to me, Thus says the Lord, Behold, I will bring disaster upon this place and upon its inhabitants, all the words of the book that the king of Judah has read, because they have forsaken me, and have made offerings to other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all the work of their hands. Therefore my wrath will be kindled against this place, and it will not be quenched. But to the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of the Lord, Thus shall you say to him, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, regarding the words that you have read, because your heart was penitent, and you humbled yourself before the Lord, when you heard how I spoke against this place and against its inhabitants, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and you have torn your clothes and wept before me. I also have heard you, declares the Lord. Therefore, behold, I will gather you to your fathers, and you shall be gathered to your grave in peace. And your eyes shall not see all the disaster that I will bring upon this place. And they brought back word to the king. One of the great treasures in the United States in the last half of the 20th century was Paul Harvey. His resonating voice and quick humor were legendary in the annals of broadcast journalism. His catchphrases were unmistakable. Good day, Americans! Stand by for news! One of his most famous segments of broadcasting was The Rest of the Story. These short broadcasts, but a few minutes in length, began with obscure details that were wanting for the name of the person in question. Finally, at the end, Mr. Harvey would reveal who the person in question was, and it was then that he would announce, Now you know the rest of the story. In our chapter today, we are introduced to Josiah, who assumed the reign of the southern kingdom of Judah when he was 8 years old and reigned for 31 years. 2 entire chapters are dedicated here in 2 Kings to Josiah. His reforms are astounding, and his iron will to serve the Lord is admirable. However, there is a rest of the story to this young man's life. No, it's not one filled with scandal. No, he didn't lead a double life filled with corruption that no one learned of until after he died. Nothing like that. What we discover from other writings in the Old Testament only make us more in awe of this young man's faith and dedication to the Lord. Our companion passage, as with most of the book of Kings, is that of the Chronicles. For an account of Josiah's life is also found in 2 Chronicles 34. While 2 Kings leads us to believe it is when the book of the law is discovered that Josiah begins his reforms, 2 Chronicles 34:3 tells us, "For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet a boy, he began to seek the God of David his father. And in the 12th year, he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem of the high places, the Asherim, and the carved and metal images." Did you catch that? In the 8th year of his reign, he began to seek the God of David. When he was 16. I don't know about you, but when I was 16, I was having trouble getting to the bus on time to get to school. I had no thoughts at all of reforming a nation. Now, at 20, he was laying the axe to the entrenched idol worship of Judah, figuratively and literally. When I was 20, well, we won't go into that now, but suffice it to say, I wasn't leading any charges of reform then either. But wait, there's more. We get the impression from 2 Chronicles 34 that Josiah came up with this all by himself. Now, you'll have to do some digging in the prophets to learn about this time. But don't be frightened by these books. They're rich in history and give clarity to history of Israel and Judah. In Jeremiah chapter 1 and verses 1 and 2, we read, "The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, one of the priests who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah, the son of Amon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign." He continues in verse 4, "Now the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Then I said, Ah, Lord God, behold, I do not know how to speak, for I am only a youth." Now, unlike Josiah, we aren't given the age of Jeremiah, only that he considers himself to be too young for the task. But he was a contemporary of Josiah, perhaps close to the same age. Now, consider this passage from the prophet Zephaniah. In Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 1, "The word of the Lord that came to Zephaniah the son of Cushai, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah the son of Amon, king of Judah." A timestamp in chapter 2, verse 13 of this book tells us of the destruction of Nineveh, which according to historians doesn't take place until well into the reign of Josiah. So Zephaniah prophesies early in the reign of Josiah. Someone is listening and influencing our young king. Who, though? By and large, Judah was wholly given to idolatry for 57 years before Josiah began to reign. 55 by Manasseh and 2 by Amon, his father. But for a brief penitent period by Manasseh, the Lord was not ruling in the lives of Judah. Now, at this point, we are prone to wildly speculate and begin to put up the names of people we think will fill that bill of influencing young Josiah. His mother. It must be his mother. But the text nowhere tells us that she did this. Then his grandmother. Yes, it must be his grandmother, Meshullam, Amon's mother. Nope, it doesn't tell us that either. You must go back, way back to the days of the first king of the northern kingdom, when they split from Judah. Back nearly 300 years to the reign of Jeroboam, when he was sacrificing to the golden calves he had made at the new place of worship in Bethel. In 1 Kings chapter 13, verses 1 and 2, we read, "And behold, a man of God came out of Judah by the word of the Lord to Bethel. Jeroboam was standing by the altar to make offerings, and the man cried against the altar by the word of the Lord and said, O altar, altar, thus says the Lord, Behold, a son shall be born to the house of David, Josiah by name. And he shall sacrifice on you the priests of the high places who make offerings on you, and human bones shall be burned on you." So, have you figured out who had the ear of the young king? Me neither. That's not the point. The name might satisfy our curiosity in as much as that goes. But what is most important is that what that prophet of Judah said all those years ago was written down somewhere. And somewhere there was a student of history who recognized his name. Now that person might be lost to the annals of Bible history, but the results were not. In the last verses of 2 Chronicles, we read in chapter 36 and verses 22 through 23, "Now in the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia, so that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and also put it in writing. Thus says Cyrus king of Persia, The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he has charged me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Whoever is among you of all his people, may the Lord his God be with him. Let him go up. This was a fulfillment of a prophecy of Isaiah some 150 years before in Isaiah chapter 44 and 28, who says of Cyrus, "He is my shepherd, and he shall fulfill all my purpose," saying of Jerusalem, "She shall be built," and of the temple, "Your foundation shall be laid." How did God stir the spirit of Cyrus? Well, that's as mysterious as it gets, but he does it. Our conclusion, therefore, when all is said and done, is that God works in his mysterious ways. And long before that little boy began to seek the Lord, or even was born, God had put in place everything so as to accomplish his will. Even the wise Solomon understood something of this when he said in Ecclesiastes 3:11, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart. Yet so he cannot find out what God has done from beginning to end." And now you know the rest of the story. Perhaps one day we may understand the rest of this story we are now living. And who knows what you and I have been called to this day. And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at another of the great chapters